Hello, AniDark is here. Today I'm going to start recap romantic and comedy anime. But before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe to the AniDark channel and let's go. The story begins with a young man at the university named Shinichi Sakurai. This young man was walking alone towards the university, but suddenly a girl appears in front of him. This girl he knew in childhood but had not met her for years. This girl named Uzaki Hana. She greeted Sakurai and said that she would study with him. She started walking with him and also asked him about swimming. But he said he didn't swim because there was basically no swimming club at the university. After a whole year had passed, she noticed Sakurai always sitting alone at all times. She was really surprised by Sakurai's actions. And actually a whole year has passed, and as usual at the beginning of the new academic year, she ran up to him and said in a comical way that Sakurai's secluded lifestyle at the university would end today. Afternoon, he was bored because this period of the day is very annoying. He was walking alone and looking for a way to fill his free time. But he looked at one of the girls in a terrifying way. The girls ran away, and here we find out the truth about Sakurai. He is aloof and has no friends, and also a lot of students think that Sakurai has one of the mental illnesses. But suddenly he hears Uzaki's voice calling out to him at the top of her voice. He became angry, so he asked her to shut up. But during this, a collision occurs between them because Uzaki was running at a very high speed. He gets angry because of her stupidity, but she doesn't care at all and said that she had lunch with her friends so she can't eat with him. But she said that she can go with him in order to watch him eat. He said that he had no lessons this evening, so he would go for a walk alone, and indeed he did. But she started walking after him. She said that she also has free time this evening, so she wants to go for a walk with him. He started screaming and asked her to stop this nuisance, but she smiled and said to him, "Are you ashamed?" She kept following him in order to find out where they were going, but this time it was she who became angry because Sakurai was ignoring her all the time. So he said that he behaves this way with her because of his temper. She started screaming and said that it's not a game for fun. He is nervous because the place is full of students and you can get trouble, and actually the students misunderstood and started cursing Sakurai because he exploits girls. Then they went to the cinema, but she started making fun of him because he was going to watch a movie alone and she called him the only one. He asked her to shut up a little, told her people at this time tend to sit alone away from the nuisance, and also asked her to stop bullying people's hobbies. She got to move her head, but she said that he talks like a real loner. Really, this girl is very annoying. He wants to hit her but he can't, so he grabs her by the nose hard in order for her to stop making fun of him. And actually after a few moments she stopped bothering him. He said that he was going to watch another movie because Uzaki was with him, and he actually asked her to choose one of the movies. She said that this movie would be good because it has heroes on the right and on the left, and fortunately for her that this movie is good because Sakurai watched it once and he wants to bring it back a second time. So they went to get the tickets. He paid the price alone, but it was a surprise. She changed her mind and said she didn't want to watch this movie, so he lost his mind and grabbed her by the nose again. Then they left, but on the way she asked him to stop because she wanted to go to the electronics store in order to buy an earphone. He agreed, but he wanted to buy something, but suddenly she called him senpai. She wants him to try this robotic chair in order to relax a little. And he did, but she increased the vibration speed because she feels very tired and exhausted. But suddenly she started making inappropriate noises. He became very shy, so he asked her to go right away. But she was feeling abnormally excited. She went to another device and of course everything started shaking. So he put his hands over his eyes because he became embarrassed. Then she noticed a virtual reality game, VR, so she asked him to let her try it. And actually she started playing. She was very excited and enjoyed the zombie game. Also he was laughing at her way of playing. But suddenly and without any intention she hit him on the face, the knockout blow. She never cares about him because she just wants to try games and have fun. Then it was Sakurai's turn to try the game. He chose a quiet game related to deep sea diving, and really he was enjoying the game. But suddenly a terrifying shark appeared in front of him. The shark was attacking him, so Sakurai was moving fast in a funny way. And actually the demoness Uzaki said that she would film this moment in a video in order to harass Sakurai later. But disaster struck. He touched something while fighting the shark, due to Uzaki because she was standing in front of him. Then he began to praise his experience with VR. He said it was good because it makes the player feel the game just like reality. He does not know that it all happened because of the Uzaki demoness. The cat was shocked by the things that happened in front of him. Then he wanted to do physical activity after the virtual world game, so he went for a little baseball training. He really was a professional in this sport, but Uzaki was laughing at him and said that he was stupid and a beginner. Really, she is a demoness. So he stopped playing and asked her to try this sport a little, and in fact she was holding the racket with all the professionalism like a real player. But when she hit the ball she collapsed completely because she ignored the warm-up. As a result she suffered an injury to her lower back. He asked her to lie on her back, but he said that she should now go home in order to rest and tomorrow she should visit the doctor. But when she heard the word doctor, she acted strangely and told him let's go now for dinner. And they actually went to one of the popular restaurants. He told her that her injury was not serious, but when she felt pain, she should go to the hospital. But she doesn't care, she just wants to eat. Then he started blaming her because she never exercises and the result is an injury in the simplest exercise. But she asked him to stop this nonsense. But he suddenly found out that his meal did not exist. She ate all the fried chicken like a monster. She began to make fun of him by giving him only a small piece. Then the cook started laughing and asked Sakurai to stop being cruel to his girlfriend. He said that she was not his girlfriend and also ordered another dish of fried chicken. The cook also gave them another plate of meat at the expense of the restaurant. She began to eat greedily and said that it was delicious, but he, as usual, found the plate empty. She devoured everything alone. He was shocked and angry, but he got back to normal because the fried chicken was ready. The next day when he was going to university, Uzaki came to him. She said that the sport she did yesterday was fun, so she wants to go again today, but he can't because he has a part-time job this evening. Then he began to remember her when she was little. She had little speech and movement, so he wondered why she became annoying. But despite all that, he began to get used to that inconvenience. But after a few moments and in front of all the students in the arena, she said that her back still hurts because of the thing they did yesterday, and the thing here is baseball. But the next day Sakurai was working part-time in a cafe. The owner of the cafe was an old man named Akihiko Asai. He had a lot of experience in managing cafes because he had been working for 10 years. Sakurai was also working very accurately because he had worked for a whole year in this cafe. He was feeling calm and comfortable. But suddenly Uzaki came, so he shouted at the top of his voice because he was shocked how this annoying woman discovered the place where he works. He never told her about this cafe. The manager was watching the show because they are funny. Sakurai wants her to leave because this cafe is the only place where he feels comfortable and calm. But Uzaki came and soon she will ruin everything. She doesn't want to go anywhere, she just wants to sit in this cafe in order to observe Sakurai. But suddenly Mr. Akihiko started saying things about this duo in a low voice. Sakurai asked him and told him what to do. He started sweating, but he said he was throwing fresh on the stock. And in fact, he was enjoying watching the fight that takes place between Uzaki and Sakurai. But he was shocked when he found out that Uzaki is actually an adult and she is in college. He thought she was in elementary school because she was too short. Then she went and sat at one of the tables. Now she is a customer and Sakurai has to serve her. And indeed she was very malicious because of her actions. Sakurai offered her a glass of water, but she didn't like the way of serving and said that the services were poor. She wants Sakurai to improve his treatment of customers, and in fact he treated her in a decent way. But she was annoying and wants to upset him in any way. And he actually became angry and asked her to leave. She wondered how he treated the rest of the customers. Did he treat them the same way? But he smiled and said that she was the only one who treated her that way, and that's because she's special. She was ashamed and she looked at him with all innocence. But then he called her an idiot. The manager started laughing, and then he asked Sakurai to treat her like the rest of the customers. He didn't want to because he feels ashamed when someone comes to him during work and this person he knows. But he did, and he actually went to her and took her request. Really, this time he was being nice to her. But she spat out the water and laughed in a crazy way and said that his scary face completely disappeared. So he kicked her out of the cafe and locked the door on her. She apologizes and says she's sorry, but he never cares about her because she embarrassed him in front of the cafe owner. But the cafe owner was laughing and asked Sakurai to leave because his work is over for her this day. And also the night will come soon, so he wants him to accompany Uzaki home. She was sad because Sakurai kicked her out and wouldn't let her eat anything from the cafe. He said that she can order something next time, but on condition she has to go to the cafe when Sakurai is not present. Then she said that on vacation she would probably also work in that cafe with Sakurai. He was smiling and listening to her. The next day, while he was going to college, he was feeling sleepy because he had been playing video games all night. But suddenly he found a cat. The cat was strange because she was looking at him in a scary way. But he started playing with her, but it was very bad. And meanwhile Uzaki comes. She played with this cat in a professional way because she has 2 cats in her house, so she is used to this. She invited him to her house, but he didn't want to because of several things. Suddenly a speeding bicycle comes. This bicycle, while crossing it, made a sound, so the cat made an escape. But Sakurai was frustrated because he wanted to play with that cat even once. So Uzaki said she was going to catch her now, and she actually ran to look for the cat. And actually she noticed her in one of the weeds. She jumped towards her, but the cat escaped. But the problem is that Uzaki is now stuck between the thorns and weeds. She began to ask Sakurai for help. and actually he came rushing to help her, but he found a surprise waiting for him, so he hit her with the book and began to pull her out of the grass. Meanwhile, there are some girls who noticed what was happening, but they misunderstood and ran away. Finally, he helped her, but he was frozen like a statue and said he wanted to go home. At school, specifically at lunchtime, she said that she would not be able to eat with him today because she would be doing it with her friends. He also said that he was going to have lunch with his friend. She was so shocked that she spilled tea. How for a lonely person to have a friend, this is illogical. She got acting crazy and said she wanted to meet his friend now, so he got angry and left. But she never gives up. She was making strange movements during lunch. He couldn't understand what this idiot wanted. Moments later they started exchanging strange messages, and as usual she was teasing him. In the evening, he was having a good coffee after he finished cleaning the cafe. He was saying that this feeling is very cool, but suddenly Uzaki comes to him again. She came in order for him to help her write a report, but he can't because he's doing the work now. But the owner of the cafe allowed him to help Uzaki. She started telling him that she wanted to go home with him in order to cook for him, but he immediately refused her request, after which she said that she would also sleep at his house because it is close to the college. So he became very angry and said that this is completely impossible. She also said that she would play video games with him because he bought a new game. He became embarrassed and said it was stupid. At that moment, the owner of the cafe was enjoying and laughing from this show. The next day, Sakurai was doing his job like every time. But on the other side there is a girl who was watching him because she likes him. This girl is the daughter of the cafe owner and her name is Ami. She is studying at the university and always wants to watch people for no reason. She became happy because she is collecting important information about Sakurai. But meanwhile her father comes. He asked her to be careful and work hard in the cafe. She apologized, so he asked her to clean one of the tables. But meanwhile, Uzaki comes again. She said hello to everyone. But Ami was shocked because her dad was acting like boys with Uzaki. She went to Sakurai in order to ask him about this short girl. He said that she was studying in the second year at the university. She became shocked because Uzaki was very short. She said that she came to return the game that she took from him yesterday, so he asked her about her experience while playing. And indeed she said that it was a very good game, so she is excited to try the second part. The other girl feels strange, so she went to her father to ask about this girl. He started laughing in a strange way, but he didn't tell her anything. He just asked her to serve her some water. And she did, and then she recognized her, and Uzaki identified herself too, but she smiled in a funny way. But Ami becomes shy and angry at the same time because Uzaki is very taxing. She said she was as cute as a pet, but when she looked there, she said that this girl is a wild beast. She started talking about Sakurai. She said that he wants to be alone, so she always takes care of him. Ami returned to her father, where her father told her that they should not interfere in the affairs of Uzaki and Sakurai. He said that they should just watch because they enjoy it. Then she wanted some water, so she went, but she clashes with Sakurai. So he got angry because his clothes got wet because of the water, while father and daughter are watching this show. The next day, Uzaki went to the cafe again but did not find Sakurai. The owner said that because of the accident that happened yesterday, he got sick and cannot work today. She never expects Sakurai to get sick, but the cafe owner was shocked that Uzaki didn't get sick despite the amount of ice water spilled over her yesterday. Important, she wants to go in order to visit him, so she asked the owner about the Sakurai house. Meanwhile, Sakurai was feeling tired and exhausted due to the illness. He couldn't even get up in order to wash his face or take food and medicine. But suddenly he heard the sound of a bell. The bell was ringing in an annoying way. He went in order to open the door, but surprise, Uzaki came to him. He asked her how did she find out where the house is, but then he lost consciousness and collapsed. So she brought him into the house. He was only thinking about the person who told Uzaki about the location of the house. She became desperate because she wanted to play some video games with him, but he was very tired. She asked him where the medicine was, but he said he didn't know anything. So she went to look for some medicine and food, but she didn't find anything. The refrigerator is empty and there is also no rice. So she quickly went to the store in order to buy the right things, bought medicine and some vegetables, and then returned home. And also she made some food for him. She wanted to feed him, but he was very shy and said he wanted to eat by himself, and actually the food was delicious, so she was very happy. After he finished eating, he started feeling hot because of the hot food, so he started sweating. She brought him some water and told him that he should take off his clothes in order to clean himself. But he was dismissive at first, but then he agreed. She helped him with that and the cat was shocked. Then he asked her to come home because it was late, but she said that she would leave after Sakurai fell asleep. But during that she wanted to play a little, but after a few moments she started screaming because the game is hard and she doesn't want to lose. The next day he interviewed Ami. He thanked her for having done the work at his place yesterday. Then they all got together, she was eating meat greedily, and then she went to the bathroom. So the cafe owner took advantage of it. He wants to know what happened between Uzaki and Sakurai. He said that nothing happened between them, but Ami and her father began to seduce Sakurai by giving him big pieces of meat. But he said that his relationship with her is just a normal relationship. Also, he does not want her to come to his house because his house is close to the university. And in this case, there is a high probability that someone will see them. So he does not want her to get into trouble because of him. Then she came out of the bathroom, but she noticed Sakurai calling Ami by her first name. He said that he does this in order not to confuse her with her father, Mr. Asahi. But he sat alone and kept asking himself questions about Uzaki, and he thought he did something that upset her. But in the meantime, she came to him. But this time she brought a book about hypnosis in order for her to hypnotize him in order to ask him some special questions. So he decided to fake it in order to figure out what she was going to ask him for. And actually the first request is to call her by her first name. He was hesitant at first and started saying her first name incorrectly, but then he called her Hana. She asked him a lot of times. People are watching them and they said that this duo is a really stupid duo. She said to herself that she has a talent for hypnosis, so she decided to order a lot of things from him. And also she wants him to buy her ice cream, juice and food, so he hit her on the head and asked her to stop it. He also asked her why she was doing this. She said that because he calls Ami by her first name, she is his childhood friend, but yet he always ignores her. So he apologized to her and also said that he calls Ami by her first name just for work, nothing more and nothing less. Then he tried hypnosis on her, and it really worked, so he got scared and searched the book for a way to bring her to her senses. The next day, Ami and her father are going on vacation to the hot springs, so Asahi asked Sakurai to also go on vacation in order to rest. He suggested he go to the springs with them, but Sakurai does not want that. He just wants to sit alone at home in order to play some new video games. And actually he was locking himself at home. He was playing video games for 72 hours straight without any rest. Really, he is crazy and addicted to games. But suddenly the bell rings, but in a ridiculous and funny rhythmic way. He starts to get angry and goes in order to open the door. Who is this fool who came at this time? And actually it was Uzaki. She smiled a little smile and said, "Hello, senpai." She began to make fun of him and said that she knew that Sakurai is a recluse, so he doesn't go anywhere on the day off. He just sits at home in order to play. So she wants him to go out for a walk with her, and also she wants him to play a game called Doraemon Go with her. She said that this week is the golden week, so it will be very eventful. And actually Sakurai also had the game on his phone. But he didn't want to play because he wanted to sit at home, so she became acting innocently and begged him to go out with her. And he actually said that he was bored so he would go with her. She found a cat character, but all the characters he found are gorillas. There are a lot of them. But then he started feeling tired and exhausted, especially in the eye area, because he played too much last night. So she suggested he go in order to buy freshness. And they did go, but they found Ami. He said that he came in order to buy freshness because his eyes hurt because of too much playing. And indeed, she chose freshness for him. This freshness protects his eyes from the blue rays that come from LCD screens. She said that he became handsome when he wore this freshness, so the girls tried all kinds on him, solar and medical freshness. Then Ami gave him a snail-like freshness. When he tried it, everyone started laughing at him. Then she gave him another freshness, but she continued to mock him. She said that he became like the leader of a gang ruling the underworld. He became very angry because of these actions. But Ami brought another freshness to him. She said that she took it seriously, but when he put it on she began to mock him again and laugh out loud. Then Uzaki wanted to buy freshness, so she took Sakurai's opinion. Is this freshness beautiful? He began to look at her, but he remembered something that happened a few moments ago, so he told her that she looked stupid in a strange way. She got angry, so he got into a fight with her. And they actually left the store even though they didn't buy anything from him. Then they went to the train. But at the next station the place became very full of people. And also there is a monster who pushed Sakurai towards Uzaki. The place became tight, so Sakurai has to control himself in order to get away from problems. And indeed he began to imagine nature and the sky. It was going well, but suddenly he lost his mind. The train arrived at the station, so Uzaki got off, but she noticed Sakurai acting strangely. He became frozen in place, but the problem is that the door had already closed and the train moved. She was shocked by his antics and also she didn't know what to do. In the evening, when he regained consciousness, he found himself in a rural place. He does not know where he is now and does not know how he got here in the first place. He opened the phone but found a lot of messages from Uzaki. The next day he returned to work at the cafe again. Mr. Asahi was asking him about the events that happened during the Golden Week, but Sakurai was feeling frustrated, so he explained all the things that happened with him and especially the thing that happened on the train. Ami also found out everything, so she asked him to go to Uzaki in order to apologize to her, and indeed he did go to her, but he found her sad and feeling depressed and frustrated, so he asked her why she was in this terrible state. She said that when she looked at the calendar, she found out that there is no holiday in June. He was surprised by this stupid reason, so he said that there is a weekend. But she wants a long vacation. A 3-day vacation is never enough, and also the rain will continue to fall for another month and this is bad. He said that the summer holidays would come after the rainy season, but she said that the exams would come first. Then she started complaining, saying that she wanted to hang out now, so he said that he would take her for a walk at the end of the week. She became acting seriously and said that the place would be a train tour. He remembered what happened to him last week, so he became ashamed and told her that trains were forbidden. A week later, it was raining hard, so he was at home. He was about to call her in order to postpone the picnic because of the rain. But a few moments later he heard the sound of the guard, and actually it was Uzaki. She bought some things for him and also she said that she came in order to play with him a little. But before that, she wanted to take a shower and change her clothes, and she did, and she also put on sakurai clothes, but the clothes were wide and big because they were too short. Then she made some food, so they started peeling potatoes and vegetables. Then they went to play together. The game was a construction game similar to Minecraft, and they actually enjoyed the game and ate together until the night came. Now Uzaki has to go home, so he accompanied her to the train station, after which she gave him some tips in order to increase the taste of the curry that they cooked earlier. Then she said that tomorrow she also wanted to come to his house in order to play again, and he actually agreed to that. She left in order to get on the train, but she forgot the train ticket at Sakurai's house. After a while the summer came. He was going to university, but Uzaki came to him. She said that she wanted to come to his house today in order to complete the construction of the world in that game. He began to mock her because the thing she built looks like the castle of the Demon King. But she said that this house is her dream house. She wants to build a house full of traps in order for Sakurai not to come to visit her. Then he noticed a cat above a very high place, so he went to her in order to rescue her, and he actually approached her. But the cat jumped on him, so he lost his balance and fell. But all this was just a nightmare, because he was sleeping while studying. Really, he is a very hardworking student. He doesn't want anyone to see him in this case, but Uzaki was watching him and she actually made fun of him in a funny way. He became angry and nervous and wondered why she saw him at this particular moment, and indeed she knew that he was dreaming of falling from a high place. He was very angry and asked her to stop making fun of him. Then the lecture started, but it was a surprise. The lecture was about the interpretation of dreams. The professor said that the dream of falling from a high place expresses anxiety and severe stress. So Uzaki started making fun of him again. She never stops acting stupid and annoying. But when they started going down the stairs, she slipped and fell, but Sakurai saved her. He started saying that the person who falls down the stairs, there is a high probability that he will get some kind of mental illness. So she became scared and told him to stop it. Then he met his close friend named Sakaki. He was trying to escape and avoid going out with one of the girls, so he said that he would go out with Sakurai, and of course the girls are very afraid of Sakurai, so they ran away. He thanked his friend for saving him from some annoying girls. Then they went together for some drinks. Sakaki wants to know where his friend was a month ago. Sakaki said that he was on a great cruise. Then he asked Sakurai about the things that happened with him during his absence. He began to remember the girl Uzaki, but he said that things were normal and nothing happened with him. He was just playing video games and studying and working part-time in a cafe. So Sakaki got angry and said that he had known him for a long time, but his life never changes. His life lacks fun, so he asked him to enjoy every moment at the university because this period is only 4 years. He also asked him to get a girlfriend. Then they started fighting. But suddenly Uzaki comes. She was shocked because Sakurai really has a boyfriend. She thinks he was lying to her that day, but it's different now. Then she introduced herself to Sakaki and he also did the same. She said that Sakurai is the leader of the depression, so she is trying to get him out of that state. Then they started talking to each other about going for a walk after the lecture, while Sakaki was quietly watching them. Then she hurried off because the lecture would start soon. But Sakaki began to make allusions to that girl, but Sakurai told him that there is nothing between him and Uzaki, they are just ordinary friends. But Sakaki doesn't understand. He starts saying that Sakurai has finally found the love of his life, the girl who will pull him out of the circle of loneliness and depression. After the lecture, when Sakurai was playing one of the games with Uzaki in the university's restaurant, Sakaki came to them, and he started saying very embarrassing things, so Sakurai became angry and said that nothing had ever happened between them and would never happen at all. But Uzaki looks at him in a strange way. She makes allusions to that situation that happened on the train and also while chasing the cat. So he started sweating. She asked Sakaki to stop saying these things now, so he apologized and said that Sakurai is a loner, so it's strange to find him with one of the girls. She said that he is a sullen, desperate, stupid and aloof creature, so she always watches him. His friend became a spy and said that Uzaki and Sakurai are going out on a date very soon. So Sakurai went and said he was going to buy her some ice cream on his account, so she went with him. The blonde sat alone thinking about that relationship. But Ami came to him and she hit the table hard. She was angry and said she wanted to talk to him. She asked him not to interfere in the affairs of Uzaki and Sakurai, but he said that he cares about his friend no more and no less. But he noticed that Ami is also interested in that duo, so he asked her to cooperate with him. But she hit the table with all the force. She said she wanted to watch them only, no more and no less, and she also threatened him if he approached them again he would regret it. Meanwhile, Uzaki was eating some kind of ice cream called Choco Mint. He said it tasted like toothpaste. She became angry and lectured him about the history of Choco Mint when she first entered Japan. Then she started saying touching words about this ice cream, and everyone actually started clapping. He does not understand what is happening, so he said that he does not hate Choco Mint, but he said that he hates the taste of mint because of the attitude he got to him in childhood. So she decided to give him some ice cream. He doesn't want that because this is an indirect kiss, but he ate. Then she ate the last piece of ice cream. But she noticed it now, so she became shy and apologized to him. Meanwhile, Sakaki said that it is impossible for Sakurai to bond with Uzaki. This will happen after 1,000 years, so Ami said that she will live 1,000 years just in order to observe them. The summer holidays came, so Uzaki went to the cafe where Sakurai works in order to do part-time work. He started yelling at her and said that he wanted to work here alone in order to have some peace and psychological comfort. But she said that she had to raise some money, so when she asked Mr. Asahi for work, he agreed. The owner of the cafe also said that it was wrong to refuse her request, and he also said that this was interesting, after which he asked Sakurai to teach her the basics of business. And he actually started teaching her everything, guiding the customer to the table and taking orders. But she said she wanted to tell some funny jokes to the customers, so he got very angry and said that this cafe is not a sitcom. She started laughing and said that he was really serious about work. Also, the manager was laughing and said that Sakurai takes things seriously. Sakurai does not understand what exactly is happening. But suddenly Ami said that she taught Uzaki the basics of work a little earlier, means that all this is a prank in order to make fun of Sakurai, no more and no less. While at work, she asked Sakurai where he was going during the summer holidays. He said that he planned to isolate himself at home in order to try new video games. She is shocked that he always does this thing all year round, so he shouldn't have to waste his precious summer vacation. But he was smiling and said that this summer is the most beautiful summer ever. She wants to save him, so she suggests him to go to the beach or the pool or any other place except the house. But during this conversation Sakaki comes. He also suggested them to go to the beach, but Sakurai said that he is busy because he is going to take these things home. So his friend moved the things in order to go with Uzaki to the beach, and they actually went. But when Ami saw Uzaki at the beach, she was shocked by that evil monster, and then she wondered about Sakurai. She said that there, in one of the places far from the beach, he really was a good swimmer. Ami was shocked because he always takes things seriously. She said that he has to take care of the girl Uzaki, because she is playing alone, and this is dangerous because there is a possibility that some people will come and harass her. She told him that he should go to her now and praise the swimsuit. He started praising Ami's clothes, so she was ashamed and slapped him. Then he went to Uzaki, but when he told her the words that Ami said, she pushed him on the floor and ran away. Ami asks her about the things Sakurai said to her, but she was trying to hide her shyness and said nothing. Ami also said that this is a good attitude towards Uzaki, but it is never enough. Meanwhile, their friend Sakaki comes. He brought a watermelon and also a racket, and all this in order to play some games on the beach. The game is the player must close his eyes, and his friends place the watermelon in a distant place, after which they direct it to its place. The person who will play this role is Sakurai, but Uzaki confused his concentration, because she was directing him towards the target in the wrong way. He asked her to stop, but she never cared. She continued to direct him in a strange way. But suddenly she stood up in front of him, so he fell, and of course an awkward situation happened. Then they came back, but on the way, Uzaki was feeling angry and nervous because of the game they had tried earlier at the beach. The problem is that Sakurai doesn't know about it because Uzaki put the watermelon in front of him at the last moment. Importantly, they arrived at the house. The house was very big and full of luxurious things. The surprise is that this house is owned by Sakaki because he belongs to a very wealthy family. And actually, Uzaki and Sakurai are shocked by the things in this house. In fact, they are ordinary things, but Uzaki was very excited. Then they opened the refrigerator and found a lot of food and meat, so they set up a fire for the barbecue. Everyone started thinking about what they would do after eating. Sakurai and Uzaki said that they had brought some toys with them, so they would play. But Sakaki said that this is a summer vacation, so he suggested they go to the forest at night. And they did go, but Sakurai was terrified, so he said he wanted to go home. He said that he doesn't play horror games and doesn't watch movies either. The reason is because he's scared a lot. Suddenly, Uzaki looks at him in a terrifying way. Sakaki was shocked because he thought that it was Uzaki who would be afraid and Sakurai would protect her, but the exact opposite happened. He wanted to create the right conditions in order to improve their relationship, but this really failed because of the cowardly Sakurai. But after a few moments they found this duo. Sakurai was sitting on the floor, but he was very scared. He can't even speak normally. I don't know what exactly happened here, but it's clear that Uzaki scared him, especially that he doesn't have a light because his phone is there. Then they came home. She was playing excitedly. She wanted Sakurai to join her in playing, but he was sleeping. Also, everyone was sleeping too, so she stopped playing and went to him. But an awkward situation happens. The next morning she was feeling shy and told him that he should buy a pillow for hugs. Meanwhile, Ami and Sakaki are watching them from behind the door. They think that something important has happened that they missed, so they swear that they will definitely bring Uzaki and Sakurai together. And so we have come to the end of recap. Do not forget, my friends, to subscribe to the channel, the AniDark channel, and also activate the notification bell. See you next time with the legendary recap.